Good evening everyone and welcome back to RTG TV for the second round of the season here at the Romagna Grand Prix in the heart of Italy at the Emila circuit for the Italian Grand Prix, the only Grand Prix held in Italy for season 16 in GP2. This circuit has one DRS zone, 19 corners. It's just under 5 kilometres in length at 4.9 kilometres, 3.050 miles in length. It was first around here years and years ago, back on the calendar in 2020, and it certainly is a driving circuit. It should be a great occasion in qualifying. It's the C5 soft, C4 medium and C2 hard, C3 hard tyre for this event. We go on to have a look at the calendar for this season. Again, obviously, Emilia-Romagna, the second race. We're on to Australia next week after the race in Miami, where Josh McGill won out in his first event there with the maximum points taken of 28, leading the Scuderias in the drivers' standings. The Williams of Little Flinster on 23 points, Ginge on 20 points in third, and the two Alpines behind of Chuckle and Chuck, 18 and 16 points respectively, and the Alpine duo leading the Constructors' Championship into round two on 34 points, 28 points for Ferrari and 28 points for Ferrari and 24 points for McLaren. Now, the rain is pouring over the circuit. It looks like it's going to be wet conditions for the start of proceedings here with this 18-minute qualifying. We're already a minute in and we can see a Haskar making his way out the garage. It is Tiny who's come out on to the circuit for the opening lap in round two. Just a note, just to go back quickly to the standings very quickly there. The reserve drivers for this evening are Short Marcus. He has changed his name this evening from now on to RLS Marcus, so that will be changed. Cavalis as well, he is back as a reserve. And then we've got WI7 Ardo, who is the other reserve for this evening. Sorry, I didn't mention that before. Back to the track, and Tiny is the first one on an exploratory lap here, and the Scuderia driver Wizard of Oz is out on the circuit as well. And actually, I just realised that Wizard of Oz is the reserve driver, the third reserve, who's got a slightly different name in the Discord where I take the name from, but he's reserving for RTG Lee, who didn't attend in the first race and hasn't attended, unfortunately, in the second either. We can see all the cars struggling now. As you can see, RLS Marcus sliding the rear end through Tozer, and then Piratella as he makes his way down the hill into Aqua Minerale, the very fast right into the uphill right-left chicane. Up to the other chicane of 14 and 15, the Variante Alto. We're going to have 32 laps to run around the circuit after this 18-minute qualifying. Of course, you can get your lap finished before the checkered flag falls. So we do run to about 20 minutes in this short qualifying session. We'll ride on board with Tiny for his first lap as he goes into the Tamburello chicane, which was first formed in the mid-90s after the late great Ayrton Senna lost his life there on the exit of the Tamburello chicane, down into the Villeneuve chicane, a very famous racing family. That Villeneuve winning the 97 Formula 1 World Championship, and Gilles Villeneuve losing his life in Zolder in 1982. Anna Tozer, and very gentle and cautious on the throttle is the rear end, and the wet tyres are not the greatest in terms of the wet compound here on this game. Drivers seeming to struggle with the blue banded tyres as he goes into Aqua Minerale, back end sliding out, and it's almost like driving a boat over this circuit as he goes up into Variante Alta, braking around the 60-metre mark. That might have been slightly later. He was a bit quick into the first of the two corners there. He was able to get it under the control out of the exit. Now, as we barrel roll down the hill into the two Ravazza corners, the final two corners of the lap. Make sure not to invalidate on the outside. Remember, if you put all four wheels over the white lines, you will invalidate your time. And if crucially after the final corner, you'll invalidate your time for the next lap. As Tiny crosses the line, obviously fastest overall. And who do we have next? It looks like there's an Aston Martin coming to the line of Marcus, who goes fastest there, 28.8. We have got these wet conditions today, but there's your lap record from the previous time we were here in GP1. It is a 1:14.216. That was set on F123, so we're going to have to take that with a pinch of salt anyway if we had dry conditions, but of course we're not going to get anywhere close to that, because at the very best we're going to go into intermediate conditions right at the end. Royal Rumble crossing the line in the Kick Sauber, and he goes does a 1:29.405, and Chuckle 1:29.553, sorry, as Greaves goes provisionally fastest, and then Josh McGill close behind him, as Greaves is very close to the back of that Mercedes out to the final corner, and Josh McGill on provisional pole. He started on the front row last week in Miami. Can he make it one step further to take his first pole of the season after this race? And of course, the driver that took pole last week was Matthew, who has changed his name, I think, from last week to this week to RTG Matthew, who they've done role reverse in the opening laps from last week. As we go up and over the hill with Matthew, we'll go to someone else. We'll go to Paul Jones as he goes into Acqua Minerale, and the Mercedes much more stable into turn 11, but then 12 and 13 not so stable, having to wrestle the car out of the corner. Yellow flag ahead, that's a McLaren going slowly. I don't think he's going to get in the way though. We don't get blue flags unfortunately in qualifying, like we should do for situations like that. Down this semi-stretch here with a slight right hand kink of turn 16 into 17 of better known as Ravazza 1, and there just got all four wheels off the track there, out of the lines of play, and he invalidated his time and will have to go again to set at least one time. RC Racer going fastest, the track starting to grip up, dry up maybe slightly with the wet tyres, just clearing away some of the water now with around 10 minutes to go, 11 minutes to go in the session. We've had 11 of the 18 drivers to set laps so far. RTG Chuck coming up the hill, but he's also invalidated. You can see the track map gone red. So is Wizard of Oz in the Ferrari. Obviously they're going to want to do good in their home race, as Cavalis is going through the Tamburello chicane. Ferrari certainly going to want to do well, as they did well on Friday night against Scotland in the first Euros game, winning 5-1, and then of course, good old England winning last night as well, 1-0 with a goal from the great Mr. Jude Bellingham. Not sure how Harry Kane missed that header though in the second half. As Cavalis now makes his way up the hill. And what's this going to be? Is it going to be an own goal of a qualifying match, or has he got a screamer into the top right bins under his right foot here as he goes up the hill through Acqua Minerale and down this very short straight where we can see overtakes, but there's no DRS at this straight, into the chicane of Variante Alta, and the exit there as well, and they have updated it in real life in 2024. There's a lot more gravel around this circuit nowadays. As we go out of the second Ravazza, he has an Aston Martin ahead of him. That could have caused him an issue with some dirty air there, and he was lucky to keep the car on the road. He goes just behind his Haas teammate there, but not in terms of lap time. It's half a second back from the Haas driver of Tiny. You see Wizard of Oz in the hometown team, where really actually RB as well is the other home team this evening at Emila. Of course at Faenza, around 15 miles I think from the Emila circuit. So very, very close behind from there. Of course, the real star-studded house number is the Ferrari car. His Chuckle goes fast. It's 126.011 for him. We're certainly looking like we're going to get into the 125s. His brother Chuck crosses the line with a 27.2. Only 2 drivers getting into the 26s. And as I say, that little Finster gets into the 26. 26.2 for him. It's a Williams 2.3 with the Alpine on provisional pole as it stands. Still waiting for 2 of the 18 to actually set laps. His RC Racer now takes provisional pole in the Grove Oxfordshire outfit. He now backs out of his lap, of course, and will probably cool down and go again. Of course, the wet tyres much more durable than the slick dry tyres, and you can get a few laps out of the car. So we'll just see if anyone's putting any comments in just yet. My audio's quiet again. Okay. Bear with me. Not sure why that would be. Is that a little bit better, John? Sorry, I've only just had a look at the comments. So apologies for that. But I can't turn mine up any more than it already is. So there's not really anything else I can do about that, unfortunately. But RC Racer on provisional pole. Little Flinster as well going onto that front row alongside him. It's an all-Williams front row with around 6 minutes to go. Maybe closer to 5 minutes as we wait to see the clock. No, we are closer to 6 minutes than 5. Chicken and Blunts out in that RB on his outlap. I said 1 of 2. Paul Jones the other that hasn't been able to set a lap time just yet in qualifying. So we'll stick on board with Chicken and Blunts for the lap, and actually I'll go silent for the lap as well. We'll literally ride on board with the RB driver for his whole lap. It's the Haas there. Got quite close to comfort. We'll watch Chicken and Blunts on his on board. I'm going to have to cut in there. I feel like this man's actually having a bit of fun out on the circuit and just trying to drive the car through every corner. His little Flinster goes even faster. We're into the 124s now and on to the intermediates. I said it best, we'd get to the inters, and we certainly have. With just over 5 minutes to go. Who else is going to go on to that intermediate tyre? The majority of the field now decided to go on to the intermediate and decided that is the right time to go. The wets were putting in some decent lap times, and that's maybe why Chicken and Blunts is going slowly and waiting to go back into the pits, because the wet tyres are not the tyres to be on now. Alex Manning didn't get the memo, did he? For some reason stays out and drives straight past the pit lane as Alice comes into the pits, and so Alex Manning at 11th. Josh McGill on a lap right now, 1.2 seconds up than his previous best time. He clips the curb and he goes around, and we do have some more gravel out there now. The track has been pulled in a little bit, but the gravel actually goes all the way up to the curb, but he just clipped the grass there on the entry. So Paul now more than likely on his penultimate lap. He might have one more lap on the clock to be able to complete. He will want to do a cool down lap. He's certainly got time for that. It looks like he's got fuel as well. His Chuckle goes fastest there and goes even further ahead than anyone else. The first one into the 123. He's a long way away from anyone else, but there's going to be lap times coming in now as Greaves goes second fastest. 124.1 is Paul Jones tentative in the penultimate corner, and again in the final would have knocked his confidence into that final corner as he goes across the line. Paul Jones goes second fastest at 23.5, a very quick time from him there. Just seeing how the car felt skittish, or looked skittish should I say, in the final two corners. Looney Man now up on his time by 3.3 seconds into 9th place. Who is the next car across the line? It's Chuck in the other Alpine. Is he going to go alongside his brother? It's close. It's on the second row just behind his brother. 123.9. He'll just have enough time to go again as the track is very, very busy. All 18 cars are out on the circuit, a lot of them out on out laps at the moment, as Danny starts what looks to be his final attempt. Unless he messes up in the first half of the lap, he might be able to cool down and go again. But he's close to the clock here, as you can see him slide through turn 3 at Tamburello, down to the Villeneuve chicane of turns 5 and 6, and then into turn 7, Tozer, as RC Racer goes on to provisional pole, the 122.4. The timing screens are lighting up with purple sectors all over the track as we have more cars cross the line now as Royal Rumble starts his lap, as we are watching Danny coming into Aqua Minerale, right on the limit in the McLaren opposite lock through the Aqua Minerale final part of that chicane down into Variante Alta over the curbs, using a lot of the curb on the first part of the chicane, and then pulls back to the left to take the right-hander of turn 16 before the final two Ravazza corners. You hear a screech from the brakes locking up, of course no ABS. In Formula 1, no TC either, as he drags the tail out on that McLaren and puts it on the second row, a 123.3. We've only had one driver get into the 122s as Tiny crosses the line. He was 1.5 seconds faster, as we see an Aston Martin cross the line behind him. Now the checkered flag is out. Next time you come to the line, that's it. You've got nothing left to give. RC Racer has invalidated, but is on provisional pole, and it's a waiting game for him now as he crosses the line, and Chuckle is going to stay in second. The best he is going to be able to do today. Royal Rumble coming to the line. He's up on his time, is he? Just, but he stays in 8th place. Who is up next? It might be one of the Ferraris. It is. It's Wizard of Oz. He goes 11th place. Only one of the Ferraris can now get themselves in the top 10. It's a big old queue out of the final corner there on the track map as Paul Jones comes into the pits, and Danny getting skittish. It's a Williams front row, an all British front row at the moment as we go across the line. Greaves goes 5th fastest. We're waiting for the next car of Cavallis. He goes just behind his teammate as Tiny's coming into the last couple of corners, and so is Danny. As Josh McGillen, he goes 5th fastest here. He's not going to get a pole position in the second race. Tiny crosses the line. He goes up to 7th. We're waiting for now Chicken and Blunt. We've had another cross the line. Chicken and Blunt is out, and that is it. We have an all Williams front row in Italy. It's a British all front row in the heartlands of Italy, with little Flinster starting on pole position. We're getting that extra point, the only point you can get in qualifying. RC Racer alongside him on the front row. Ginge in 3rd. Chuckle will be starting in 4th. That's getting me every time. RLS Marcus in 5th. Josh McGill 6th. Greaves 7th. Tiny 8th. Danny is in 9th. And Paul Jones rounds out the top 10. Chuck 11th, 12th Royal Rumble, 13th Alex Manning, Looney Man 14th, Cavalis 15th, 16th with the Wizard of Oz, Matthew 17th, and Chicken in Blunt starts 18th and last. Those bottom two didn't actually set a time on the intermediate wet tyre. And we'll be back in a minute just as the formation lap gets underway. So, as we get started on the formation lap, Flinster gets us underway. We'll have a look at the tyres. We've got 16 drivers on the mediums, 2 drivers on the hard tyres. We have not seen the soft tyres used so far in this event. So the drivers that started in the top 3 last week was Itzy, who I believe isn't here today. He's one of the Red Bull drivers. We actually haven't got a single Red Bull driver in. And that's the main cars on the thumbnail this evening. We have Josh McGill, of course, in second place for the start, and then Matthew, who took pole position. We've got 2 drivers who are already out of the formation lap who would have come together and been disqualified, now sat waiting on the grid for the other drivers to get back to their starting positions. So, as I said, 16 on the mediums, 2 drivers on the hard tyre. So Little Flinster now coming up towards the start-finish line in the pole position. as we get ready to get underway at the start. It's an all-Williams front row, and then the Mercedes are Ginge in third and Chuckle behind in fourth. As we wait for Chicken and Blunts to get in his right position. We've got an awful camera angle for the start, but we'll make do with what we have as we wait for the lights. We've got an all-Williams front row here in Emila. We've got 5 red lights. And we are away for the second round of the season in GP1. Little Flinster gets away well. RC Racer still in second place. We've got Carbon Fibre flying. We've got an RB off. In the background there is RC Marcus. Goes into fourth place as they go around Tamburello and on the way down towards the Villeneuve chicane. And Marcus looking very feisty at the start, going up the inside at Villeneuve, but that's to back out on Ginge, who's now up into, now Marcus is up into third place. Ginge falling down, as I said that, into sixth place. Danny has now moved up into seventh place as we ride up the hill towards Piratella, the left-hander at the top of the hill, as we see the Alpine of Chuckle going wide there. There's still Williams leading the way. It's Flinster, followed by RC Racer, Marcus, Chuckle, and then Josh McGill in fifth place, coming out of Aqua Minerale into Variante Alta now, and locking up of the brakes here. Is Danny going to go for a move? No. Thought he was, though, as we looked into the background. As we see all the cars file through, we still have all 18 running, coming down to the penultimate corner, and now on to lap 2, where we'll see DRS enabled, but we won't see it used until lap 3, or just before the start of lap 3, as Little Flinster obviously takes the fastest lap, being the one who leads the way onto lap 2. Josh up one place, as well as Greaves is the biggest loser so far, down six places. And now we've got Paul Jones, who's down right at the back, who's spun out at the exit of the Tamburello chicane. So as I said in qualifying, we might see some overtakes up the hill here at Variante Alta. And one of the drivers is close enough to maybe go for it is Tiny, who he certainly is. He's alongside Danny into that chicane around the outside, but he goes off the circuit. He may have to give the place back there, as he did gain an advantage off the circuit, but maybe the game won't make him do that. All right, he's not going to want to do it. Around the outside, Chuck at the Ravazza corner there, but Alex Manning there saw an opportunity as Chuck went wide into the penultimate corner, and now he's up into ninth place. DRS available for the first time today, and the two Williams still 1 and 2 as they go into Tamburello. Ginge around the outside there of Chuckle as Looney Man goes wheel to wheel, shoulder to shoulder with the Alpine, and Chuck is in 10th place as they come out of Tamburello. And the Kick Sauber looking very aggressive here on the outside of Villeneuve, and he gets past into 11th place here. And then Matthew getting past Looney Man, who's been bogged down here, and he might have a Ferrari going up his outside here at the exit of Tozer as they go up the hill towards Piratella. As we see the first time penalty today, it's Chuckle with a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits 3 times. You'd have had 2 warnings before, and then you get yourself a nice penalty for the privilege of exiting the track one too many times, and he's done it again there over the apex of the second pass of Variante Alta, turn 15. So this front 3 have already broke away as we go on to lap 4. Little Flinster, the only one without DRS, is RC Racer getting closer and closer and gets past his teammate, and it's a Williams switch around, and RC Racer is leading as they enter the Tamburello chicane. Tiny getting past Chuckle there, as I said, the only one with a 3-second time penalty, and he got that on the previous lap. next lap, Danny getting himself a 3-second time penalty as well. That's 2 drivers and 2 drivers in the top 10 who have a 3-second time penalty. So as I said, this is 3-car train for the lead, 2 Williams and an Aston Martin. And they have a 2-second buffer, or Marcus does anyway, to Josh McGill, who we know can close gaps, has the pace, won 9 of the 10 races last season. Ginge being overtaken by 1 and then another down the start finish as Greaves gets past as well, and then Chicken and Blunts from the back row is now in 13th place as they exit the Tamburello chicane. Oh, that was close. That was very, very close. Looney Man and the RB of Chicken and Blunts made contact there. It almost collected Wizard of Oz as well. But somehow they all stayed on the circuit. Still, and equally a bit of luck there, I think, is we have the 3rd penalty. 3 laps in a row we've had 3 drivers with time penalties, but we now have 4 drivers with time penalties, and Josh is closing that gap to the top 3. So around 3/10 as we're into the last sector of lap 5. Wizard of Oz getting on as well. A lot of drivers struggling with track limits here at Emila at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. You're watching that second round here at Emila for GP1, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. If you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the content, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. If you want to join the league, it's PlayStation only in the 2-tier system of GP1 and 2, as we see RB, McLaren and Alpine jostling for position down the start-finish straight, and it's crossplay on a Wednesday with a mixed tier system in that Wednesday tier. The Discord server is at the top of the YouTube. Join, as I said, PS4-5 only for Mondays and Thursdays, GP1 and 2, and the Wednesday tier, the mixed cross tier. I think you know the word, but tier was the right word. Join that one if you're on any platform. .3 now, Josh McGill, 1.2 to the top 3, and he's about to make this a 4-car train for the lead. Alex Manning here getting closer, looking to the outside of the Mercedes, and then he makes contact with the Aston Martin and he's able to keep it in a straight line. He doesn't pirouette and goes across the gravel and loses a couple of places as Ginge made contact with him on the outside. I don't feel like Ginge gave him enough room on the outside. It does seem to be the line of choice to overtake here, as Chuck trying that outside line around Tozer. And he's up on Danny. They both have time penalties though, as you can see. So remember folks, I have got the comments up, so if you want to make a comment, any predictions about what you think might happen in the race, make sure you get your comments in, get your opinions heard, as we've got a 4-way fight here as the Ferrari spins out under braking there. It seemed like he did that all of his own accord. So But they say that Emila, very tight technical circuit, not the easiest to overtake, not with these heavy, long and wide Formula 1 cars. But putting in a very good show in the first 7.5 laps. Breeze overtaking Ginge there as we go into Variante Alta. Josh now tries to get himself into that top 3, overtaking, or has he? It looked like he got it done, but not yet, as he now has to go the long way round. There's more contact in that Tamburello chicane, and little Flinster has been spun around and is falling down and outside now the top 10. No, just keeps himself inside the top 10. So, when we get to it, where's that? It works. That'll be why then. Sorry about this. Usually have this all pre-done. Oh, bear with me. Sorry, let's make this a little bit smaller. A bit more readable. And a bit less in the way. There we go. Thought I'd done that earlier. Apologies. So you can see the safety car history here. 100% safety cars in real life events. Obviously, it's a bit different in league racing. But there you go. 24 seconds. The pit stop is here from line to line. One of the longest pit stops or pit lanes here on the F1 calendar, and you get a 4-second discount under VSC or safety car. Cover this with a 3-second time penalty there. I think we're waiting for drivers to now come into the pits as we're getting close to half distance. And it's now firmly a top 3 battle. Sorry, I just moved off of him there. Danny was making an overtake. Only 2 seconds. And this fight for the lead hotting up here as I was a little bit busy. Sorry about that. Big fight here between Mark as RC Racer and Josh McGill as RC Racer loses to the back end of the car out of Tozer and has lost a position and got himself a 3-second time penalty. I think that's the second he's had today already. No, sorry, it's not. He's only got the one so far. It's still very much all to play for as we've got drivers coming into the pits. Chuckle going slowly as he comes over the hill and he's lost a couple of places. We've got yellow flags flying. So we'll go back to the front here. We've got 3 different teams fighting for the lead here as they come out of Ravazza 2 and down the start-finish straight, getting up to over 200 miles an hour before hitting the brakes here, and Josh McGill up into the lead as RC Racer overtaking Marcus here as well. He's going to have to be skillful not to collect Josh McGill on the brakes. Had the car under wraps through Tozer as we've got drivers coming in to the pits, and as I said, there you go once again, the pit stop there. 24 seconds you're expected to be in the box as we see Tiny, Ginge, Chuck and Chuckle all pit. It's a double stack for Alpine. And that'll be why a front wing change for Chuckle. He's down in 17th. So this is firmly now the pit stop window for the mediums. Likely to go for the hard tyres for their final stint. The slightly longer stint than the first. That is obviously very much understandable, seeing as the more durable tyre and will last longer as Matthew moves up into 5th place here. And just remember, last week we discovered it's a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane now, so drivers have really got to be on their toes in terms of getting the car stopped before the pit lane limiter line. And we've just seen that a driver of Chicken and Blunts has forgotten about that already because he's got himself a 10-second penalty. As we also see RC Racer into the pits as well, and Matthew. Josh McGill staying out, of course, as he started on the hard tyre. So just to remind you from last week as well, Josh McGill obviously took the win. Sorry. A little disclaimer, I've been absolutely fine all day. We get to doing this about 20 minutes in and I'm getting really bad hay fever. I hate this time of year sometimes. Obviously not as bad as it used to be when I was a kid, but still tiny getting past Marcus there. But sorry for all the intermittents. It's me having sneezing fits and trying to get myself sorted, so apologies for that. Paul Jones up into 7th, as Will Spencer comes out in 8th, and Alex Cannon behind him in 9th with Chuck not too far away into Tamburello. So when is Josh McGill going to pit? Just remember, we saw that it's a 24-second pit stop here. Is Josh going longer? Going to go to the softs maybe? Slightly more aggressive strategy than others. So 10 second no. He's got 6 seconds. Tiny's not too far behind. We'll just refresh on who has pit and who hasn't just yet. No, Tiny's pit as well. All these guys actually looking very good in the positions they're in. We're just going to wait to see when Josh McGill pits and what tyre he's going to go on to. He might be holding it out, longing it out to go to the softs and go all out. Quite a long way for the softs to go though, so it may be the mediums. He stays out for another tour of the circuit, just over 3-mile tour around the Emila circuit as Marcus gets a 3-second time penalty there. Tiny looking good with no penalty. Grieve is as well in 5th. As these guys have all pit, as you can see. The only one that hasn't yet is our race leader, Josh McGill. So also just to remind you guys, Short Marcus, Cavalis and the Ferrari driver of Wizard of Oz are all reserves this season. Cavalis I don't think actually turned up. Oh no, sorry, he did, he's in 18th. So we've got Marcus in 4th, Wizard of Oz in 15th and Cavalis in 18th and last, who are the reserve drivers. Pulled out of the order at the end. They are literally here to make up the numbers. Josh McGill stays out again, and that means that the drivers in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and everyone be out behind them actually, it's going to start closing in on Josh McGill's lead, and when he pops out he's going to not come out back into the lead, I don't think, as Wizard of Oz gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Have a lot of drivers. The majority of the field have themselves a time penalty now. We have 12 of the 18 drivers with a time penalty. Make that 13 green for a 3-second time penalty, 4 multiple warnings. This could be the lap that Josh comes in. It isn't. He stays out once again on to lap 20. He is certainly going longer to go on to the soft tyre at the end. And these are the crucial laps for the drivers like Tiny, who really is the only one in the standings, in the running at the moment for the race win, because the others have time penalties unless Josh has a similar fate towards the end. As Marcus goes around the outside of RC Racer, we've seen it many times today, and RC Racer actually went off the circuit as well and got himself a time penalty. That is going to frustrate him, that is for sure. Chuck has Alex Manning for company behind him, company that isn't wanted. Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Josh has made a mistake. We didn't catch that, unfortunately, but it's now down to 10 seconds, and that might have cost him victory here. What tyre is he going to go on to? It is the mediums, I think. And he's going to fall back behind Ginger and Paul Jones, I think. Little Finster as well. He's going to come out of this group. Or maybe even behind them is Little Flinster getting close and closer to Paul Jones Jr. as Josh McGill comes out in 8th place. He's got a lot of work to do in not a lot of time through Tamburello, and he's got to get those mediums warmed up, and this was not part of the plan. I think the plan A, was to go on to the softs and pushing too hard out of the pits in Villeneuve, and now he's lost another place to Alex Manning, and he's got Chuck in the Alpine right on his gearbox as well, as Josh goes back on the offensive again up the hill towards Piratella. The inside line for him here is Chuckle retires, and he retires in the pit lane. It's the first driver to be out here as Chuck thinks about it into Variante Outer as they go up the hill, exiting the Variante Outer chicane and up to Aqua Minerale. Drivers have to be careful here of the slow moving Alpine of Chuckle, who had retired, as Alex Manning and Chuck almost come to blows here as they exit Tamburello. Matthew moves up on Alex Manning as well. He loses a couple of places in a couple of corners. Drivers towards the front as well, they're going to be hoping and praying that Tiny gets himself a time penalty, and a lot of them will be on an even keel towards the end. Well, 2 of them will be. Little Finster, oh sorry, he's too far back, so we've got RC Racer with 9 seconds, so it's really Breeze and Marcus who are really praying for him to get a 3-second time penalty. Chuck's got 12 seconds, and he passes the driver with 13 seconds worth of time penalties. As Paul Jones Jr. comes into the pits, it's going to be a set of medium tyres and a front wing change, as he's obviously had an incident with either just himself or some other drivers as well. He's going to be overtaken by Wizard of Oz and Royal Rumble. And I think Chicken and Blunts as well. So there's a long, long pit lane here at Emila. And if you make a mistake and need to right the wrongs of your instant, it can cost you quite a few places, as seen there by Paul James's mistake. We're on that 23 of 32 here on RTG TV for the second round of GP2 at the Emila Romagna Grand Prix at the Emila circuit. If you are enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. It's really appreciated to have all your support. As Tiny goes the long way round on RLS Marcus. If you want to join the league and join the Discord, it's at the top of the page. It's PlayStation only Mondays and Thursdays in the tier system, and it is a cross-play, cross-tier division on Wednesday. They're all 8 PM UK time, 9 PM Eastern. Oh, sorry, Western European time. Tiny now pulling quite a gap here is Josh McGill on the hunt as he's trying to put in qualifying time after qualifying time to right the wrongs of his mistake. As we go down the hill, an overtaking opportunity for Josh McGill out of the second Ravazza and down the start-finish straight as RC Racer moves up into second, getting past Grooves on that start-finish straight. DRS open for the Ferrari driver, fastest lap for the Ferrari driver, fifth place for the Ferrari driver at the end of the start-finish straight. But still, the drivers in the lead going through Tozer, or out of it now, and a good good 11-12 seconds up the road from Josh McGill. Not looking like this could be a 10 out of 10 season for Josh McGill. He almost made it an absolutely perfect run of form in season 15. As we go into Variante Alta, yellow flags flying. 2.5 seconds to Marcus ahead. Tiny's out in front. She's got to keep between the white lines. It really is his to lose now. Reeves up into the lead, and he does have 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Of course he could try and gain 3 seconds, but not a huge amount of time to do that. Including this lap, we have 5 laps to go. It's been a very exciting second round of the season in Emila, especially in the first half. We had a huge amount of overtakes happening in places where you don't usually see overtakes. Here we go, Tiny trying to take back the lead on the racetrack. Breezes past the Sauber. We've got a yellow flag, that's it, Piratella. And that is Cavalis. Oh, I don't think it is Cavalis, I think it's the Ferrari of Wizard of Oz. Matthew and Jin swapping places here at the start-finish straight. Josh still has an opportunity here to get on to the podium. He can recover somewhat. It wasn't his best qualifying session in the wetter intermediate conditions for our reigning champ. So once we exit the 2 Ravazzas here, we're going to have 3 laps to go. Oh, I do apologise, my controller just died. Didn't realise it was dying actually, sorry about that. There we go, we're all good. And as my controller was dead, we see Greaves, the last bit of it, getting past Tiny. Tamburello. So now officially 3 laps to go. Tiny on course to take a maiden win this season. Tiny started down in 8th place at the start. He may even be getting my driver of the day. As they go into the 2 Ravazzas, the Haas driver almost lost the car there. Into the first Ravazza, he's got to keep it steady, only 2 laps to go. Just to refresh one more time with the reserve drivers, we've got Marcus who's in 4th, who will be slotted out anyway, as Tiny almost loses the car there. Talking about that, we've got Marcus, Cavalis and Wizard of Oz Cavallis down in 17th, Wizard was in 14th, and Marcus in 4th. He will obviously lose the place to Josh McGill anyway. Josh hoping to get within that 9 seconds of RC Racer to claim 3rd place. It's entirely possible. Tiny just needs to make sure he keeps everything under wraps here, doesn't go off the track, and more importantly, doesn't lose the car from underneath him. Like I said sort of 15-20 minutes ago, it really is for him to lose at this point into the final 2 corners for the penultimate time today. And around the final, Marcus getting a 3-second time penalty again. So, the final lap, as I said, Tiny is net first as it stands. Greaves is going to stay out in front, hoping that Tiny gets a time penalty in the last few corners of the racetrack. He will not want to give up that position. Josh McGill almost within that 9 seconds. He is now teetering on the cusp of that 9 seconds to get that 3rd place, as RC Racer has 9 seconds worth of time penalties into the Variante outer. And down the hill into turn 16 and now 17. Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. Greaves is going to see the checker flag first, but Tiny is going to win the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, starting from 8th. He gets himself a race win and puts a challenge in for that championship fight. Josh McGill does end on the podium by 2/10. The Williams duo started on the front row together. They both end up with no podium to their name. What a difference 45 minutes makes. We're just waiting for the last few cars. Paul Jones, the only one left without a time penalty to finish the race. He is going to finish where? There's still drivers with a lot of time penalties. It's just a 1-place jump up to 11th. We're waiting for Royal Rumble up next, and then Wizard of Oz, who's one of those 3 reserves. As he crosses the line, we then wait for the Welshman of Looney Man, as Ginge is retired early, and that messes up the order as we wait for Looney Man to cross the start-finish line to end the race. And there is your race winner, Tiny in the house. So here is your final order, and I'm going to give driver of the day to that man as well, Tiny, who's had an excellent race and well deserved win. 28 points he goes away with today. Greaves is finishing in second, and Josh McGill salvages that mistake to get the 3rd place and 20 points. RC Racer finishing in 4th, Marcus is 5th, Little Flinster finished in 6th, Alex Manning is 7th, Matthew 8th, 9th is Chuck. His order is slightly wrong because Ginge did retire early. Paul Jones is 10th and he has the fastest lap. Danny 11th, 12th is Royal Rumble, 13th is Looney Man, 14th is Ginge, but that isn't correct. Wizard of Oz is 15th, 16th is Chicken in Blunts, 1 lap down. Cavallis is 17th, but one of the reserves, and the only DNF today is Chuckle. So, thanks very much for watching, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. And just so you know, we'll be back next week for Australia, of course, with famously 4 DRS zones now, so plenty of opportunities to overtake at that circuit. So we'll be looking forward to see you then. If not, we'll see you on Wednesday night with me again for that crossplay Wednesday tier. Looking forward to that one. And we'll be back with me and Lee, as per usual, for GP2 on Thursday with that full qualifying event. Thanks very much for watching. You have been watching the second round of the season, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Emila. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It would be much appreciated. If you want to join the server, the Discord link is at the top of the YouTube page. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Until Wednesday, or if you're back for GP1 only, I'll see you next week at Australia.